Well, it's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
You know, with you being in such a big position at Golden Boy, I figure you'd be the guy to ask this question to. You know, you guys got a really talented middleweight fighter, Jaime Munguia. Very exciting to watch. He's been #1 ranked in the WBO for a long time. Would you guys consider making a Demetrius Andrade fight next year?
Yeah, that's one of the fights we're considering. There's a couple of other possibilities as well, fighting Charlo.
Yeah.
Look, you know, a lot of people are not running to fight him. There's a reason for it, because he's dangerous. You know, so we're looking at all the champions.
Munguia or Andrade? Munguia.
Munguia, yeah. A lot of people are, you know, they're not running to fight him.
Yeah.
You know, so we have to create the opportunities, and we're working on that now.
Okay, because like I know I've spoken to people on Andrade's team, and they've voiced to me a lot of displeasure about how like Munguia has been ranked there for like about a year and a half, 2 years, #1, and there seems to be no urgency to make the fight happen. What would you say to that?
You know what? I mean, make us an offer.
Yeah.
You know, if the money's right, make us an offer. You know, he's willing to fight anybody.
So there haven't been any offers from them?
There hasn't been any offers whatsoever.
The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Right now, I'm at the San Antonio Riverwalk, just getting my day started. We got the press conference later for the fight, for the Gilberto Ramirez Iniesta Gonzalez fight, so stay tuned for all the content on that. But what I wanted to speak about was interview I did yesterday, and I'm gonna leave the article, the link to the video interview in the bottom for you guys to check it out for yourself, so you can come to your own conclusion and your own surmise. But I had the honor and the privilege to interview Golden Boy president Eric Gomez. You know, a man of very high influence within that promotional company. He would be one of the guys you'd want to ask about why certain fights are or aren't happening. So I took it upon myself to ask him the tough question of why has there seemingly been no interest or urgency for Jaime Munguia to want to fight Demetrius Andrade. I mean, I think it's a valid question. Munguia, while he is a good fighter, he's been the #1 contender and the mandatory challenger for like about 2 years now. 2 years, maybe even longer than 2 years. And there seems to be no urgency at all from Golden Boy Promotions to want to make that fight happen. And it doesn't really make sense to me, because Munguia is a fighter that is improving. Like, Munguia is a fighter, like, he's not the same guy he was when he was fighting at 154 against Dennis Hogan and Takashi Inoue. He's evolved, he's improved, and he's matured as a fighter in the professional ranks. But there's been no urgency. So I asked him, I said, why hasn't the fight happened? Is the fight going to happen? You know, that stuff. And Eric Gomez's response to me was basically that, you know, we're looking at fighting the champions. He then even had the audacity to say that nobody's running to fight Jaime Munguia, which, all respect to Munguia, but I don't believe that to be true. I don't believe that to be true, not one bit, not one iota. I think Munguia, for as good as he is, there's plenty of guys that would like to fight him, and I think Andrade is one of them. And I know this because his father, Paul, and Andrade himself have been calling for that fight for a long time now. So he pretty much said that if they want the fight, make us an offer. But Munguia is the mandatory challenger. So my thing is this: in most cases, not most cases, in all cases, if a fighter is undefeated, he's a young, hungry contender, then, you know, there are no offers made. He's mandatory challenger. He accepts his position as mandatory challenger, and he goes ahead and he proceeds to make the fight. But he said that Andrade, who's the champion, should make the mandatory an offer to fight. Now, let me know when was the last time you guys heard that. Normally, the way mandatories work is a guy beats certain fighters, he works his way up into the mandatory position, and then when it's time to make the fight, they have an agreed upon purse split, which is already predetermined by the sanctioning body. For most, it's about 70-30, something like that, 70-30. So, you know, it's not looking too encouraging for Golden Boy, because, you know, Eric Gomez, I like him, lovely fellow, I have nothing bad to say about him, but like, Golden Boy Promotions seems to be hell-bent on not wanting to make that particular fight happen. He's the second person I've talked to within the company that really hasn't given me any sort of encouragement about that fight ever happening. I asked Roberto Diaz via Instagram if the fight would happen. He pretty much told me that they're only interested in making the exciting fights happen. They're only interested in making the they're only interested in making certain fights happen, with Golovkin, because they're more exciting, but then he still claims they want to fight the best. Then I asked Eric Gomez in the interview, he says, no, pretty much he needs to make his offer, but you're the mandatory challenger. Shouldn't you be the one trying to go for the fight since you never won a world title at 160? I feel like they're just trying to wait for Andrade to vacate the belt, hopefully move it to 168, and then they could fight for a vacant belt against someone like a Kanat Islam or someone like that, or Johnny Beck Alam Koli, someone like that. That's what they want to happen. That's the dream scenario for Golden Boy Promotions. I also asked Roberto Diaz, the matchmaker, that same question, back when I was in Vegas for the Jojo Diaz Devin Haney fight, and he pretty much told me that he didn't even answer the question. Roberto Diaz did not even answer the question. He skated around the question. He refused to answer it, and pretty much ran off. Same thing with Eddie Hearn. You talked out to Eddie Hearn. You ask him about, because Eddie Hearn, when I interviewed him, he said, "Oh, we gotta get creative in getting Demetrius Andrade opponents because it seems like nobody wants to fight him." So he mentioned getting creative and taking Andrade at 168. So it was perfect because he said that first, and then I asked him later in the interview. I said, "Hey, Eddie, you mentioned getting creative with Demetrius Andrade opponents. Would maybe taking him to 168 and pushing for a Canelo fight, would that be on the agenda?" And he said, he pretty much shot it down, and he said no. Canelo wants to fight the champions like Makabu. He said this with a straight face. Canelo wants to fight the champions like Makabu, and he's not ducking anybody. He got out in front of what I was going to ask him, what I was going to say, and said he's not ducking anybody. We want to see him go to 175, become undisputed. But why are you saying we want to see him go to 175? You don't promote him anymore. Them days is over, buddy. Them days is done. You are not the promoter anymore. You are a former promoter. You are a former colleague, and you are a friend of his. You are not his promoter. Your fighter is Demetrius Boo Andrade, the WBO middleweight champion of the world. So with that being said, with that being established, we're just seeing across the board in boxing that these promoters and these fighters don't want to fight Demetrius Andrade. I mean, the more I spend time and I ask people who actually call the shots and have positions of influence in boxing about Andrade, they say everything under the sun but let's fight, or let's make a deal happen, or let's negotiate. You're the mandatory challenger. You are the mandatory challenger. You don't get a chance to dictate terms to the champion. What kind of sick, sadistic world are we living in where the mandatory challenger tries to dictate terms to the world champion? That's just not how it goes. Like even Teofimo Lopez, right? When Teofimo Lopez wanted to fight Lomachenko told Teofimo, "Go get a belt and I'll fight you." And then he started going the IBF route. He started fighting like Edis Tatley, Masayoshi Nakatani. Then eventually fought Richard Commey and got a belt, and then eventually fought Lomachenko. So even a guy who just won Fighter of the Year not too long ago, he had to go through the process. And when it came time to fight Commey, when it came time to fight Commey, there was no, let's make an offer talk. It was all just about making the fight happen, and it happened. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I really believe, and I'll ask more people. I'm gonna ask Bernard Hopkins. I'm gonna ask Oscar De La Hoya if I see him today. Why is there seemingly a lack of urgency for Demetrius Andrade to fight Jaime Munguia? Because really, it's getting ridiculous. So I'm gonna leave it at that. You guys take care. Make sure you take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just Kevin Daniels. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on True School Sports, the home of boxing. If you made it this far, do me a favor and do yourself a damn favor. Hit that subscribe button and surely you will not be disappointed. True School Sports bringing you the latest and greatest, the untouchable, boxing content, interviews, news videos, breakdowns, live fight reaction extravaganza. We've got a great community of people here, boxing fans all over the world, from America to the UK to Australia, and on and on and on. So join the empire today. Hit that subscribe button. Take care and God bless.